What is up, everybody? My name is Nick, joined once again by my co-host Matt, special guest McBets. Let us get the retweets in real quick, and we'll get started. Glad everybody that could join us at short notice was able to. Bam, we are live, guys. How are we doing? How are we doing? It's a Friday.
Great. It's Friday. Playoff football tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. It's going to be a great 3 days.
Matt, how are you?
I'm all right. A lot of stuff coming out. Excited for the playoffs. It's been a long NFL season with some crazy stuff happening towards the last couple of weeks. I know we have a lot of injuries, but you're lying if you're saying you're not going to still sit down and watch these games. So excited for some playoff football.
I'm very excited to get back to gambling. What a hell of a week I had, but that's a whole different story. I'm excited. So much to talk about. Playoff football. So much to talk about. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Let's do some Super Bowl predictions. I want to do that before everything starts. Make sure everything's on the table.
Wow.
Who do we have? Yeah, come on. Who do we think the matchup is in the winner? That's for people doing their polls. I just did a little group bracket at work, so
I'll go first. I think the Bills are the team of destiny. I am a man also riding a big futures parlay ticket to cash $20,000 if they do win. So they were already my team of destiny.
How much?
$20,000.
Like
I'll
cash.
probably hedge out somewhat later, but
$20,000.
You have what?
Yeah, I did
exactly.
a futures parlay. I forget who had like the Oilers in the playoffs one game when they were down with the Astros World Series, someone else, and now the Bills are the last leg.
I can't believe
$25 pays out $20,000. Anyway, whatever.
So casual. Stop. Pause. No, stop. We're not skipping over this. So casual. McBet's obviously that's like his thing. You think we weren't gonna like talk about this, bring this up? Just like wow, no big deal. Yeah, $20,000 off what? How much money?
25.
$25.
Yeah. I was up one night. I was up in the playoffs hockey, and then the Oilers went down. I was like, you know what? Let me live bet them plus 600. I was like, let me split my bet. I was going to put $50 on them plus 600 to win. And I said, I'll do 25 on it regular, 25 on a big wild long shot. So if it hits, it basically covers the ticket. And basically that's what happened. And I did the Astros to win the World Series after, I forget what the other one was. And then I need the Bills in my last leg. I do this all the time. In 2020, I hit one for $10,000. So trying to do it every couple of years, free bets and some little bit. It's fun. Either way,
I do need to do that. Honestly,
they were my team of destiny, and then preseason they were the team of destiny just because the whole overtime rules, we needed to change them. They didn't get a chance against the Chiefs last year, and then you add the unfortunate Damar Hamlin situation. It's almost like it's almost impossible to not root for them at this point. And I do think that they're going to win. I have that weird stat of teams that win the Super Bowl since 1980 are 4-2 or better through 6 weeks, and that's the Bills, Chiefs, or Chargers out of the AFC. But the passing leader has also never won the Super Bowl in the same year, which is Patrick Mahomes. That usually is because they've got those yards because they're always in a lot of games. So their defense usually isn't that good, and they always have to come back, and the clock strikes midnight in the playoffs, and they lose, which basically sums up the Chiefs. So I took them out, but I wouldn't be shocked if they do win. But, I think the Bills are the more complete team with the better defense, so I'll ride them. I do think they play the 49ers in the Super Bowl, as what they love to do is make a deep run in the playoffs and lose. So I have the Bills over the 49ers. I posted a Flashmix article on it. That's my guess. You're the 2 seed.
I hate that I went after you because I have the exact same thing, except for I have the 49ers. And it's really just because I like the 49ers. I think the Bills are the more complete team. Obviously, Josh Allen, he has the experience. Is the 49ers quarterback going to continue to, Brock Purdy obviously, continue to not turn over the ball and just manage the game? That's really going to be the question on the table. But I really like the 49ers as a team. I love good teams with great defenses. But yeah, so 49ers over the Bills, my prediction. Not betting it, but
we're gonna be
for you. I'll say
in the Super Bowl.
For you, I'll say.
And then make bets. What do you like?
You gotta give me a cut.
How do you not go with the Bills now? My guy here.
I set the tone.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I'm like I can't even concentrate.
Yeah. Well, let's get
Just
right into it.
casually holding a $20,000 ticket, no big deal. Didn't tell anybody.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Well,
freaking out.
he's brought it up. He brings it up randomly in like the most casual manner. Like that isn't like, oh no, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
20K off $25, you know, no big
big deal.
deal.
I try to do this every night. This guy's sitting on it so casually.
Yeah, I mean, it happens like once in a while. You might want to clip that, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, let's get into these games. So many picks. Honestly, we have a lot of picks. But let's talk
Yeah, we
about a
do.
couple games that I'm doing something that I honestly hate on paper, but I want to watch football. I want to have action on the games. So I'm doing a little heavy favorites parlay. Let's
Special delivery,
call it what
sorry.
it is. It's the Bills, the 49ers, and the Bengals, all at -2.5 for -119. It's on Caesars. Everywhere else it's still playable, -130, -120. But it's a great way for me to be. Where are you going? It's a great way for me to be able to watch all those games and have money on them. Other than that, I wouldn't want to touch these games. Other than Macbeth's pick coming up, I don't like. I like that one as well. But I just think it's the best way for me to have action on it. Because either of these teams could win by 6 and they could also win by 40. So I don't like that's my problem. They could win by 6, they could win by 40. These spreads are massive. You know, if I'm gonna watch football, which of course I'm gonna watch football, this is kind of the way I'm gonna do it. What are you guys' thoughts? I hate
like it.
putting it out.
I like it. I like
It's like
I
a
like these
builder.
plays that kind of take you through the night or take you through the weekend, where it's kind of all these teams should win and they all should win by a field goal.
Yeah.
So this is a cool way to get the price down and still be able to basically play these teams on the money line. Let's be
I just
honest.
hate it. So let's be honest. Someone's gonna make you sweat.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just don't know who it's gonna be.
No
I
doubt.
would probably think the Bengals, but I don't.
I think the Niners.
Yeah,
no, come on.
I think you could be right. I think you'd be right.
I mean, I like the Niners' history versus Seahawks this year, and their defense looks great. Geno
I think they'll
Smith
win.
is-
I'm not talking sweat like they're going to be losing, but it might be like they're up by a
Like,
touchdown,
no,
they're up by
no.
10.
yeah.
Seattle scores, they're up by 3. What are kind of?
So
Yeah.
you think Bengals, you think 49ers. I would agree with the Bengals. You know what that means? It's going to be the Bills. That's
Yeah,
what,
right.
that's the
Yes.
math.
I mean, I think this hits, but it's just a matter of who's going to be kind of
Yeah.
the palms will get a little.
At the end of the day, I'll be able to watch at least one game, because it could die in the first game. You never know. But
Yeah.
at least be able to watch one game and, have a bet for it at least. But you have something for this 49ers game that I actually like as well. Why don't you go over that?
Yeah, so it's kind of the similar thing. You can't play San Francisco on the money line. It's -500, completely ridiculous. But also another prop that's pretty expensive and juiced up, I think, is McCaffrey anytime touchdown. It's -165. They have so many options. Samuel rushing or receiving. You got Ayuk deep. You got Kittle over the middle in the red zone. They have a lot of options for that price to be so steep. I think it should be a little more reasonable considering the offense. But if you pair that, and if you hop on FanDuel, it's one of the pre-listed. So if you take San Francisco money line, McCaffrey anytime touchdown, it's -105. So you're essentially getting McCaffrey on a -105 if you're supremely confident that the Niners are going to take care of business here. And with them winning, you would think McCaffrey would be at the center of that. So it's a pretty good price here. So kind of like a teaser.
Yeah. And again, guys,
Great.
where he was able to find this, at least as far as pre-built, was touchdown scorer props. And then you go to anytime and you scroll down a little bit, it'll say anytime touchdown / moneyline parlay. That's on FanDuel. But you could build this pretty much everywhere as well.
Yeah, but it's
Great way to watch
like you
the
said, it's key to search it because I had it queued up built on my own, and it was -115. So Nick pointed out that it was one of the preset ones. So you wind up saving a little bit. It's not a humongous difference, but if you're trying to spread your units around for the weekend, that could be big. So I like McCaffrey to score and the Niners to win -105. Great price for both.
Nobody's big enough not to price shop. Always price
Yeah,
shop if you have
absolutely.
the option. It's just there's no point. You're missing out on potential winnings. So no point whatsoever. But let's get into some real games. Let's talk about this Vikings Giants because we got a bunch of stuff on here. Obviously, it's the highest total overall at 48 for the weekend. So, You know what that means for your over bets? It's probably a good sign, at least, in hindsight. No, future sight, whatever. All right. So,
Look ahead.
Matt. All right, Matt. Let's get it over with. Matt, you're up first. We know it. Just go. Matt.
I mean, this is what the people came to see. I mean, this is like main event material. You say for better or worse football, we say kicker props. It is what it is. Graham Gano, more like Graham yes. I'm gonna tell you why.
Don't you know?
Because the Vikings, first of all, any kicker prop, you're gonna look at the weather, right? It's the only game that's gonna be played in a dome this weekend. Off the bat, weather's knocked out. All right, middle of January, weather's always gonna be an issue. Not in this Minnesota dome, and they give up the most fantasy points to kickers this entire season. Most fantasy points to kickers, and that's because not because they give up a lot of touchdowns, because extra points are only worth 1 point. They give up the most field goals. Even the last 4 weeks, they're still the most allowed fantasy points to kickers. Graham Gano just went 3 for 3 versus the Vikings. They give up the most 40-yarders and most 50-yarders, and that could be because of the dome. It's also because the Vikings give up a ton of yards in general. They give a lot of passing yards, just a lot of overall yardage, and they do play a little bit of a bend, don't break situation. They do give up their own touchdowns, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times teams go downfield easily and settle for 40, 50-yarders. That even shows in Graham Gano's game log against the Vikings, 2 40-yarders, 1 50-yarder. Minus 110, highest total on the board. They're going to get field goals. I just got to ask for 2 field goals. I think he goes 2 for 2, but even if he doesn't, I think he gets 3+ attempts. So I'm going to take this every time. It's cashed, I think, or the Vikings have given up 2+ attempts in like 13 straight weeks. And I just have to play that number against, first of all, a guy who just did it versus them, and just in a dome, it just makes sense. So I'm all over this price. It's on DraftKings. It's on MGM. Minus 110, official play. It's a wrap. Buffalo chicken. It's over.
And the Giants do settle for field goals. They're not exactly lighting up the board. So
Exactly.
But you know how they're going to get downfield? With my guy, Richie James Jr. Richie James Jr. Over 49.5 yards at minus 115. That's currently on DK. That's the best line I saw. It opened up at 47.5. It's the matchup. So number one, obviously you talked about it. We took no weather, so no concerns there. It's the highest total on the slate, so there's expected points. Okay, he's going up against Mr. Sullivan. Chandon, I can't even pronounce his name, whatever, who allows the slot receiver. He allows 72 receptions on 91 targets. That's a 79% completion rate. That's the highest against in the NFL. He's also gotten a lot more targets recently. As far as reception, he had 7 receptions for 76 yards last week and a touchdown, and then 8 receptions for 90 yards versus the Vikings previously. He's just getting 25% of the targets overall. Let's see. He's got 11 targets versus the Vikings, and he's got commanded 25% of the team targets in the last 4 games. He's averaging 6.5 catches for 67 yards. Yeah, I mean, it just set up for him to be able to get the ball a lot. I mean, this Vikings defense's secondary is atrocious. Daniel Jones just threw all over him last time, and he's really – that's the only game that stood out in the last 6 weeks for Daniel Jones. He completely took advantage of ground game, not as much, but they can just pass all over him. And I expect Richie James to get plenty of targets and opportunities from the slot in this game. So that's my play at minus 115 over 49.5 yards. Thoughts?
Personally, as a Giant fan, I try not to wager on the Giants' conflict of rooting interest, superstition, call it whatever you will.
I need less Giants all week. Just Giants. Fast Money Lab, everybody.
Big Blue, baby.
Jesus.
But I noticed something here. This is probably the best price a Saquon touchdown has been in weeks. It's minus 120. Usually it's over by the last couple of weeks, minus 140 number, minus 135. I think the emergence of Jones's legs and last week scoring 2 touchdowns maybe brought this down a little bit. But if they get close, I doubt they mess around. and try to throw it to a Richie James or some of these elevated practice squad receivers that they have. If they get close, and they've been good in the red zone all year, but I'm talking 10-yard line and in, it's either going to be Jones keeping it or they're going to hand it to Saquon.
Yep.
They're not going to mess around. So if you're looking for a Saquon touchdown, it's a really great price compared to what it has been. And the narrative, they're not going to be messing around, risking a turnover if they get close. Worst case, they trot out Gano and they take the points. But I think if they get close, they're going to hammer the goal line with Barkley. So that could be a solid play.
If only they had like a big, tall wide receiver
from Detroit, maybe,
or a tight end.
Yep.
It's a Kenny Galladay joke. All right.
Solid touchdown last week. Maybe that rejuvenates him.
No, don't count on it.
One can hope.
Is there any lines out for him? I would bet that under like crazy, honestly. But there won't be. Dude, I feel bad for him, honestly, but that's a whole different story. Story. Keeping in the same game, I'm going with TJ Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions. All right, so let me get this up. He had 13 versus them in week 16 and for 109 yards. Everybody was talking about Justin Jefferson. He had 2 touchdowns as well. He's hit this number 7 of the 10 weeks he's been with the with the Vikings. Kirk Cousins loves his checkdowns. When he gets in trouble, I always remember this. He would make our tight ends look amazing back in the day. He still does it. Over 4.5 at -115. That's on DK. I was able to find that line there. Again, 70% hit rate since he's been with the Vikings. He's averaging 8.6 targets per game, so that's almost double the number that we're trying to get there. And the Giants give up the 10th most receiving yards to tight ends. Not that that matters, but in order to get yards, you need to give up receptions. So, again, high total, 7 out of 10 times. He's done it. He crushed them last time. And I just think that's how Kirk Cousins works. If he gets in trouble, he's a great talent, obviously. But if he gets in trouble, he just checks down the tight end and calls it a day. And he does do a lot of red zone targets with him as well. So
I actually agree. I think Justin Jefferson takes a lot of attention away. Brings over way too much defensive mind. It's almost like you can't lose Justin Jefferson. When you're looking over not lose Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson is a great different outlet, another option. And he had 13 catches the last game against the Giants. He has to have almost a third of that this time. Not saying it's gonna be the same thing, but if you also believe in this high total and believe it's going to be a close game and do believe the Giants are going to be in it the entire time and possibly winning, it also creates good game script. So I do agree that I do like it.
Once again, we're on the same page. I feel weird about it. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. Nonetheless, let's talk about this one last thing for this game. Obviously, Flash Picks has partnered up with DK to take their money. We did such a good job. This is between us, guys. We did such a good job in the World Cup. They try to cut us out and select the players. We talked about it. Highest total on the slate. With Flash Picks, obviously there's links everywhere. They're all going to go to the same place, but you're able to get it boosted from +125 to +175 for both teams to score a touchdown in each half. I think it's a great value as far as that's concerned, plus EV bet.
Happened the last time they played.
Yeah, happened last time they played. It's only for, I believe, $20, but that might be a couple units for someone, might be nothing for someone, but it's still, again, a free boost for a thing that's probably going to happen. Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
Good stuff, Flash Picks.
Good stuff, Flash Picks. Thank you. Let's get into these other games, though. We got a couple things for the Chargers. Why don't we start with you, McBets? You're liking this line, and I don't disagree with you.
I took the Chargers at -2.5, and now it's down to -1.5. So
you must really love it.
Yeah,
it's probably just because of Mike Williams news. Yeah,
Mike Williams is out. Naturally, it's going to move a little bit. Some money probably comes in on the Jags with that news, but it's basically a pick 'em. right? I mean, just give me the. I know the Jags have home field. It's only because they won the division. Chargers were in a much harder division. They've played much tougher competition all year. I think basically straight up, Chargers win, and I'm going to take it for the field goal because I don't think it'll be a one or 2 point game. I think they do cover, just short of saying easily. I don't think it's a cakewalk. It is the playoffs. Jags earned it, but give me the Chargers and Herbert. Herbert, Eckler, Everett's had a great year. Keenan Allen is playing, I believe, unless something crazy happens the next 2 days with this guy. He's always hurt, but
Might trip on the way over there.
yeah, slipped on the stairs or something on the way. Who knows? But give me the Chargers. I'll take it, even with the line movement, obviously. So Chargers against the spread. Now, if you think they're going to win, obviously, if you want to just be a little greedy and take the plus money on the money line, if you want to lay it on the money line, you could do that too. But I'll take the spread to get it closer to plus money.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to continue to wait on this one. I feel like the public's going to continue to overreact to Mike Williams. Personally, I have a little bit of a vendetta versus the Jaguars, so we'll see. See if I can get over that and actually, put out a reasonable analysis.
The longer you wait, you might even get it better, or worst case, it goes back to 2.5, and that's
worst case. And I'll just probably just live bet it and enjoy the game. But obviously, with Mike Williams out, there's, where's that target's going to go as far as Allen, Eckler? Would love your thoughts. I think this plays into what Matt's thinking as well.
100%.
Let's get right into it.
100%. I was probably going to play this before the Mike Williams news. More of like a personal play, but with Mike Williams being out, he's just such a safety net workhorse for Justin Herbert, rushing attempts and just easy outlet for a pass catching back. Arguably one of the best pass catching backs in the league. If you look at his game log this year, without Mike Williams, who missed 5 games that Eckler played, or 4 games, sorry. He had first game, he had 7 catches for 8 targets with only 24 yards. Falcons are like a medium target for yards, but did have 7 catches. Against the 49ers, he had 7 catches on 12 targets for 39 yards. That's over this line. And then against the Cardinals, he had 11 catches on 15 targets for 60 yards. And against the Raiders, 5 catches on 6 targets for 67 yards. So he's 3-1 to that over. The one he missed, he had 7 catches. The reason why I don't think he would miss it with that number versus the number of receptions versus the Jaguars is because the Jaguars give up the 3rd most receiving yards to running backs this season, 1st most in targets, and 2nd most in receptions. Now, if you look at the top 3 targets for receiving yards, it's the Raiders, it's the Cardinals, it's the Chiefs, and you look at targets, it's the Raiders, Chiefs, and Jaguars are like the top 3 running back targets for receiving yards. And if you look at his game log, even without Mike Williams against these teams, he's 9 catches on 10 targets, 55 yards. Against the Jaguars in week 3, I know it's a long time ago, 8 catches on 8 targets for 48 yards. His line on receptions is 4.5, super juiced at like minus 160. A lot of books have 5.5 at like plus 110. So they're expecting 4 to 5, I guess 5 to 6 catches actually. I think he crushes this number in his target. And now with Mike Williams out, he's got a good target, less weapons. He's done it before. It just makes too much sense. I think this should be more in the 40s. So I'm going to slam this.
Yeah, and I believe that line is moving. It's going to continue to move.
It actually moved on this video. It was 36.5 on Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers has officially moved to 37.5. So you can change this banner. I'll even change it right now to 37.5, which is unfortunate.
Some people brought it up in the chat, and I agree with them. Josh Palmer, that's someone that you have to look out for. Just going off StatMuse real quick, I would look at receptions. So his reception line is currently at 4.5 at plus 106, and his line for receiving yards is 50.5. But he's hit that in 5 out of the 6 games he's played without Mike Williams. The one game he had 8 targets and 3 receptions for 44 yards that he didn't hit. But that is somebody obviously that's going to get a lot more targets overall and somebody to look at. But yeah. that's something I would look at as far as that's concerned.
I'm just
Guys,
looking,
go ahead.
Gerald Everett touchdown. Let me see. Anytime. Plus 275. Mike Williams out as big red zone threat. You get a solid value there on Everett, who's been good. Try to pull up his
It's no worries.
touchdown 2 straight. So, Herbert's comfortable with him. Will plus 275, worth a little bit of a sprinkle, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate it. I'm not
That's
a
on
huge.
DraftKings. I mean, there's much worse options to try. A guy
Yeah.
who's steady targets and receptions, especially with Williams out. So that's one way if you're not a spread better, but that's another way that the Williams news can impact how you're approaching this game.
Yeah, definitely. Chase got another comment here. Receptions are a little bit high. One big catch doesn't mean he'll get the catches because of Eckler still there and Allen. Look, at the end of the day, you are also correct. It's really just what Justin Herbert wants to do. So if you want to throw it to him 8 times, that's the thing with receptions and yards. If he wants to get it to him, he can try to get to him. But yeah, guys, I'm all over the place. Let's do a teaser. McBets, you got a little teaser for us. Tell us about it.
So we talked about it yesterday on the YouTube preview, that the Dolphins 1-1. We'll see how the game script goes, but that's a large. What was it, 13.5, right, Maddie? The set one. So we're saying that's a big spread for a playoff game, no matter what. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater isn't some chump. He's a pro quarterback. He's going to get the job done. He's going to run the offense. So 2 touchdowns is a lot. But if you're a little nervous that they're setting it there, kind of like, what do they know? Why is it 13.5? Run a little teaser because the Giants are a very, very popular pick on the money line to go into Minnesota and upset the Vikes. So if you tease the Dolphins up 19.5, so you really buy some cushion there on the spread. And then if you like the Giants money line, you tease their spread up to 9.5. Now you're really covering yourself, and you're still it's at a manageable minus 120. So you're kind of making your own odds here for 2 games that you're going to be watching. You're getting points on both of them, where the Dolphins very well could cover 2 touchdowns, and the Giants very well could win outright. But you're just giving yourself a lot of wiggle room here for essentially the price of one of them against the spread that the book is giving you. We talked about it last night on the YouTube short, and I fired it in, and that's kind of my pick for these 2 games. I didn't touch any kind of props with the Giants, and the Dolphins game kind of stayed away prop wise due to the Bridgewater situation. But this is a fun, kind of cool way to be involved in both of these games without having too much spread around.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's another way you can watch this Dolphins game. That's the one in particular. I'm just like, I'm got to figure a way to watch it because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But let's, if you guys have questions in the chat, go ahead and load those in. We're happy to go over them. But real quick, we'll go over all of our plays. For me, I'm going to try to make these games watchable. We're taking the Bills, the 49ers, and the Bengals in a little fun parlay at minus 2.5 each for minus 119 odds. And that was on Caesars. I am also taking TJ Hawkinson receptions over 4.5 receptions at minus 115 on DK. And then Richie James Jr. over 49.5 receiving yards at minus 115. That was also on DK. Matt is taking Graham Gano over 1.5 field goals. And then Austin Eckler over 37.5 receiving yards.
Yes, sir.
And McBets is taking Chargers minus 1.5 and Dolphins plus 19.5 and Giants plus 9.5, along with Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown and money line of minus 105. And then I think we'll all just be putting a little bit of money down on this Flash Picks boost, exclusive with DK. The links will be on Flash Picks page, as well as on For Better or Worse page. Giants versus the Vikings, both teams to score a touchdown. It was originally plus 125, is now plus 175. It's a little fun play. But yeah, let's let's get into some of these questions. Do you worry at all that the Bills are trying to make a statement in the Dolphins game and win by 20 plus? Obviously,
I
that's
don't think
questions
so.
for McBets. I am, but no.
I don't know. At the end of the day, the Dolphins still do have a lot of weapons on offense. So can the Bills try and make a statement? Yeah, but I think making a statement in the first round at home, you just win and move on. Kind of, I doubt they'll. I know it's a division game, but the division game swings to it'll be a close game. Usually, they play it a little tighter. It's the third time around. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and it's kind of a bit
Over under is
closer.
also, it's what, 43 and a half. I mean, anytime you're getting that many points, you're getting half
Yeah,
the
you're
total.
getting half the points.
You're getting
Yeah.
half the total. If
Like-
they score 10 points, you're probably fine. I would say 13 points, you're probably fine.
Yeah, right. I mean, can you see the Bills in the fourth quarter just kind of run the clock out if they're up by a lot and moving on to the next week? Kind of don't want to give anything away in the playoffs. I think it's more likely to make a statement in the regular season. Playoffs, you kind of just you don't want to risk anybody. You don't want to give anything away or anything like that. You just get out of there with the win. So I think the 19.5 is good. Like Maddie said, do the Dolphins have 2 touchdowns in them? Yes.
They don't even need 2 touchdowts, though.
Right,
You know,
right. But
They
if
could still, yeah.
they have 10 points in them because I'm confident the Dolphins at 29.5, can take care of it. So
Look, I
2
looked at
touchdowns,
Waddle.
I think will be good.
I'm praying for you. As long as they win by 3 or more, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yes.
I'm praying for you. I might be more in line with Chase here, who does not like Skylar Thompson, and I agree with him. It's scary. I thought about Waddle, but yeah, again, with 19.5 and a 43 total, it should make sense. Yeah. Couple things. Oh, Cole, on Caesars, guys, it's still -1.5. I'm staring at it right now at -110. Again, on Caesars. Some of these books have not moved from 2.5, but Caesars is -1.5. So if you want to take that, obviously, it's worth the point there. Bills team total over. You guys got opinions on that? Let me see what it is. Anybody have opinions on that? I am
You're
not.
at 13 points with like 42 total. You're probably looking at like 31 or 30.
Yeah.
I'm never taking a team total that high.
Team of Destiny. I thought that's your team, man. It's 28.5. 28.5 at -108 on FanDuel at least.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I'm not a total guy. It's not for me.
Team of Destiny. Guys, what 20K ticket? Matt, what's up with that?
Come on,
you
you
gotta
got
have
team of
confidence.
Destiny. They can win the team 10-7 for all I care. They just got to win the game.
Yep.
Come on,
And nothing.
Matt. Jeez, man. No confidence. All right.
I have all the confidence in the world. I just don't think they need to win by that much or score that many points.
Yeah. Guys, any other questions that you have, please let us know. Other than that, we're just going to wrap it up and call it a day. I don't see anything else. One more time, we're going to go through the plays. Anybody that missed it, because we're going to be nice like that.
Oh, I'm rocking. I got the Ravens, Bengals under. That's my play for that one.
I don't hate that either. Especially we talked about in the Ravens Bengals video. Ravens have not gone over 20 points since Lamar Jackson's been out, and their defense has really kept them in games throughout this process. So don't hate it.
I think the Ravens can surprise some people. I will say this: if Tyler Huntley starts, which they say he's 90% healthy, if he starts, I think they can keep this close. I'm not saying the Bengals are going to lose, but like if there was one of the big favorites to lose, I said it before. I think John Harbaugh makes a good game script. They play close games. If Tyler Huntley starts, the defense can keep him in games, and it's almost like the Bengals last season. I mean, all the hype was on Joe Burrow last season in the playoff run, but their defense held every team to under 20 points besides the Rams in the Super Bowl, who they still held to 23. If that's what your defense is doing, which the Bengals defense is still good, this Ravens defense has been, they've been running the ball a lot, playing good defense. They keep this a low-scoring game to give them any sort of chance. Divisional game, I think it's an under. I love the under, and because I also think the Ravens keep it close. The only way
Mhm.
it's close is if it's an under. I don't think
If the
the Ravens are obviously not close in a shootout.
If the
Yeah.
Ravens keep it, if the Ravens can cover, then it's the under. 'Cause
Yep.
They're not going to cover in a shootout.
Be able to run the ball, control the clock, play good defense, keep the game close, one possession. That's basically their grain script. But let's go through our plays one more time. Bills, 49ers, Bengals, -2.5 for me. All of them. Fun game. Hawkinson over 4.5 receptions. Richie James over 49.5 yards. Matt's got Graham Gano over 1.5 field goals and Austin Eckler over 37.5. We got the flash picks boost. Giants and Vikings both to score a touchdown in each half at +175. And then my bets has got anytime touchdown and the money line for the 49ers. Chargers -1.5. That's on Caesar, guys. Caesar -1.5 is still there at -110. And then a teaser of Dolphins +19.5 and Giants +9.5. Guys, I think that's it for today. Thank you for coming on. Let's have a great, productive weekend. Hopefully, everybody's betting responsibly, having fun, and cashing bets. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Let's have a great day.
Good.
Guys, as always, bet responsibly, like and subscribe below, and have a wonderful weekend. See ya.